What's up, peoples? My peoples, my peoples, my peoples, my peoples. Oh, I'm fucking crazy today. I'm going to get right into it. I've had a lot of different health issues throughout my life, and they've made me who I am. But one of the things I've done is I treat them, and then they usually go away. And I'm pretty lucky, right? So I thought, like, you get one thing or two things, you pay your debt to the health gods. I believe in that. But then when Richard Pryor, he had like 2 or 3 big ass health problems, and then he got MS, and I'm like, there's just no justice in this world. So when I saw him at the Comedy Store just shaking in his last days, I was like, this is insane. And he had many different health problems. When I was a little kid, my heart was very slow. I don't know if I did a video about that. And then I got a pacemaker when I was 14 years old. Okay, I got that in 1985. Okay, great year. Almost 40 years ago. It's crazy. Parachute pants. Then I had a kidney issue, and then my heart was fixed. Boom. It was just a weird thing to get used to. Then I had a kidney issue. I was broke. That's all in my book. Fucking had the kidney removed. That was in 1995. Then I had a mole on my back, and my brother was just watching me one day when I got out of the shower, and I was talcum powdering myself. That sounded very Arkansas-ish, but you know what I'm saying. I got out of the shower, and I was, in a towel, and he comes in, and we're talking because I had a shower, and you could go outside from my bathroom, and he's like, dude, what's on your back? And even though my brother he saved my life. I went, I got checked. My manager, Pam Cole, took care of me, introduced me to one of the best doctors in the world. They do a biopsy. Bam! It was melanoma. I'll never forget it because it was very fucking tough summer. My movie, I bombed. I was going to Vegas, and I'm fucking drinking, and I'm like, I'm going to the fucking rehab, at the fucking Hard Rock. That was before everybody was fucking on ketamine, and it was just nice. And he's like, we don't know how deep it is, so we got to take a lymph node out. So they take a fucking lymph node out of my armpit, and you only have X amount. And then I'm in Vegas, I'm just depressed, and I'm like, can I still drink? He's like, yes. I was drinking like fucking vodka, cranberries, and my arm was in a sling because it was all fucked up from my lymph node. And then he calls me, so he's like, you just got to come back, and we're going to do the surgery. And they cut a big ass hunk out, and it was good. Look at the theme: 85 heart, 95 kidney, 2005 cancer, heart, renal cancer. Now, obviously, they're all different versions. Melanomas are pretty common, but if not treated, they will fuck you up. They will dust you. And then, after that, my AFib came back, and then I had a fucking ablation, and then I got that fixed, and then, bam. Oh, I had another fucking mole a couple years after that. He looked at it, he's like, it looks okay, but let's just cut it off. He cut it off. Boom, and I'm cruising. And I'm like, that's it. I ain't going nowhere. So then, I've been moving a lot, and my toe, I fucking kicked something or dropped something or whatever. I was fucking moving a safe. I got to do a video about it. Fucking bam, I got black toe. But then I noticed on my other toe, a little spot 3 months ago. And I was like, that looks a little weird. You hear stories and blah, blah, blah. And then last week, 2 weeks ago, I looked, and the spot, right now, it doesn't look good either. I'm not going to lie to you. So I call my doctor, and I'm just like, this is not going away. And he's like, with your history, get in here. Let's go. So he's fucking so cool. He sees me right away. And he was just, usually just takes a look at it. He's like, well, I don't have a lot of time. I'm busy. It's so much. Let's just do a biopsy. And I'm about that. A lot of people don't like to do that. But I've been poked and prodded so many times. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do that. So he goes, and I'm sitting in the fucking super part of the hospital. It's a clinic. I'm in there, and he's like, let's do a biopsy before I have to leave town. It's from a, yes. I don't want to give him away, so I'm giving a different accent than the accent that he has. He's amazing. So I'm sitting there talking to him. We're catching up. I haven't seen him in a few years because I've been, good, I got a bladder guy. I got a kidney guy. I got a heart guy. I got a fucking skin guy. I got an eye guy. I try to hit them all. And a great tooth guy. And then once that's all good, everything's good, and you're good for a fucking another year. And bam, bam, bam. I'm sitting there, we're talking, and he's like, let's just do the biopsy. And I was like, okay. So I don't know if you know how a biopsy works is you would think it's a machine, right? But they got to do it by hand. And so I'm sitting there and he's like, tell me what's going on. And as I'm sitting there, there's another guy there. And I met the guy and there's another doctor. So I thought I was going to meet my doctor. And then like I was catching up with him and the nurse was in there and then she gave us a minute. And the other doctor was just standing there and he's a cool guy. I met him and stuff. Everyone's masked up. I said, okay. He's like, what's up? I'm like, well, I got my toe. And the fucking thing looked like the dot got bigger and I'm fucking a little wigged out. And he's like, so it hasn't gone away. And I'm like, no. But and he's like, did you hit it? And I'm like, I don't think so, but I do hit a lot of shit. And I'm just standing there and I was like asking him questions and I was telling him something else about my life and something personal. Like, can we talk freely? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, this doctor? And he's like, yes, this is my associate. And I didn't know because I didn't have a meeting with him. So I didn't know. And usually when I see him alone. But he's really big, so maybe he's got other people working for him. And could be a. So I said this. So I said, oh, okay. Are you like shadowing him? And he's like, sort of. And I was like, so it's like Olive Garden, like when one waitress is following the other waitress when they're giving you the bottomless bread bowl because they're in training. He's like, yeah, exactly like Olive Garden. He did not fucking like that. But I wasn't trying to be funny. I was trying to be like if a comedian was following another comedian to like learn. There's like different people that are like lurchers, and then there's people that are like learning the trade, right? Obviously. And so, and I was talking about, he's like, how do you do jokes? My doctor was like, how do you do jokes anymore because of the world? And I said, well, you just got to dig in and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we dig in with the biopsy. And I'm like, yeah, just like the biopsy, dig deep, right? He's fucking funny, right? You gotta be. And I always remember talking about that before, about offended. And then he said, just like Olive Garden. And then he said, now I'm offended, but like being funny, right? And I didn't know, I guess I dissed him. So he's like, yeah, just like Olive Garden. So then we're talking. He's like, all right, I gotta get the tool. So you gotta get the tool. You would think it's just a machine, right? So they have to fucking punch a hole through your fucking nail to get to the fucking thing, to fucking dig it out, to get a test. But before they do that, they got to numb your toe up and they got to fucking jam that in to your fucking toe. And you got to do it at about 4 places. So, you know, and I got to do a show in San Diego that night. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get it done. But it's, you know, intense amount, a little bit of fucking pressure and trauma on one little area of your body, right? So we're talking. He's like, okay, I'm going to get the stuff ready. I'm going to do this for you. And he goes, and then there's a form, and the other doctor hands me the form. And I'm like, what's this? He goes, that just says that we can cut your fucking toe off. I was like, yo, bro, and I'm tense because I got this dot, and the dot's growing. He goes, that was for the Olive Garden. And I died laughing, and he laughed. And I think we're good. And then I signed it. And I go, come on, dude, if it is, what are we going to do? And my doctor's like, 80% of the time it's not. But with your history, we have to check. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, if it is, what do we do? And he goes, we airlift the nail off, we scrape around, we dig, and then we skin graft. And I'm like, so if it's early enough, you save the toe. And he's like, oh, yeah. And if you really can fucking hook it up, you go to another clinic and you get those stem cells and they'll grow that shit, right? So I'm like, oh, fuck, right? And I'm like, okay, that's good. Because I don't know. If something spreads, they fucking just start lopping shit off. So the whole last 2-3 weeks, I'm thinking like, what's up with my toe? I'm thinking like, is it in my bloodstream? If it's in your bloodstream, you're cooked. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, how much of my toe can I live without if it's there? And then if they take the needle off, and I can skin graft it, that'll grow. And then I'm like practicing doing things, not putting any pressure on that toe, thinking, can I swing a golf club? Can I swing a bat? Can I shoot a hoop? Like, I was doing a lot of shit just to, without that pressure of that toe. I'm dead serious and I was being positive, but I was just preparing, you know. And you know, if it was just a toe, if it did happen, that would be, you know, fortunate. You don't want to fucking be dusted. And so, and you know, Bob Marley, he smoked a lot of weed, as you know. I don't know if the guy had good hygiene or not, but he died, I'm pretty sure, of a melanoma under his toenail. It's pretty famous, and that's what, like, he did. And my nails all black, so it looked like the thing. You can look it up, right? So they start going in, and they have this insane fucking sharp tool, and they just fucking go in, and in like 2 seconds, they're fucking deep in your fucking, almost that bone, like this fucking insane Ginsu knife. But before they do that, they give you a needle, and the worst is like, fuck. fuck, you got to get through that first one. It's long, it's thin, so it's not as painful. And it gets it in there. And that gets a good amount of the toe. And then you got to get the other side. And they do it right in the webbing. So they go, and you're like, ooh. So then you're pretty covered with two, but then they got to cover it up. So they your toe becomes this huge. And I can't feel shit. They're fucking whacking it, smacking it. I can't. I'm looking at them, just fucking digging in there. And they're really beautiful with it. And Dr. Olive Garden was incredible. He was very thin in their thing and fucking just, in a second, they're fucking deep in your toe. Through the nail. It's insane. And she's laughing, we're goofing. I know the game where they take your mind off it, but once it was numb, I didn't give a fuck, right? So then they got to take the fucking shit out. They take it out, and then it's in a tube, right? So you have like X amount of your flesh, and then they got to get it out, and they drop it in this cylinder, and it's like water, and it's super, it's like plutonium container, and it's like, and that's your flesh test, and then they go in and they test it and do all this shit for cells and different things and precancers, I guess. I'm assuming. I've had it a couple times. So they're doing that, and the fucking thing is jammed, and they can't get, and they get it, and like half of it is like stuck in the cylinder. And they're like, so then they get this other guy, this beautiful dude who looked like that dude from Hawaii Five-0, Daniel Kim, I think. He comes in, and he goes, give me a 22, and then they give him that, and then so they get out, but it's not a great sample. So then my doctor goes in again, and the guy gets one sample, and then he goes, let me just get a really nice thick sample. So they get 3 very good samples, but the last one was like beautiful. It was like nice and not super big, but long, like little, just imagine it like a little size of a little maggot, but nice and thick. And you want that juiciness so they can really test it. And I didn't feel anything, and perfect little hole. And he gets it in there, and the next thing, this thing's in there. And he goes, all right, let's go. And he just leaves this huge thing sticking out my foot, and the other doctor's like, and then he's like, all right. And then they finish it. And then he's like, I'll have it to you in like 2 days. It'll be very quick. I'm making him German. It's not German. He says, I'll have it for you in 2 days. It's a different accent, but I don't want to give it away. It's more like this. And he says, I have it for you in 2 days. And then I'm doing my shows, and after every show, like each show, I'm having a funner, better time. And I'm like, oh God, then I'm thinking my toe. The show I had my toe, I wobbled. The next day, I didn't even fucking feel it. My boy Chuck, who's been on my pod, he gave me a drip, and he's like, yo, he fucking took my shit off, he aired it out in this fucking San Diego sun, and he's like, just wrap that shit with the new shit. Boom. He cleaned me off, and I looked fucking clean. It was a clean ass incision. And then by the second show on Friday night, I'm putting pressure on it. I didn't even fucking care. But I kept thinking, like, I'm having a great time. And then on my toe, what's going on? Like, is this going to be, am I going to have like a atonement? Like, am I going to have to make atonement with my toe? Like, I'm like, I was like climbing. I climbed out on the roof. I smoked a cigar. I'm like, my toe, like, how would I climb it if I didn't have that? I'm thinking all this shit. Again, it's could be made up. I don't know. But my history is like a little weird, right? I'm fucking, the Bob Marley thing freaked me out. And I'll tell you at the end of this, I'm like, doctors, like, you have to check your whole body for moles. So long story is, I do the weekend. I'm just having fun. I was stressed out at the end. It was good. I had like one little stress issue, and then I fucking got through it. And then this week, I'm just being caught up. I was working with my handyman, fucking adding stuff to the studio, and then I was going to my storage unit, shutting one down. I'm getting a lot of stuff done, and I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? Where are we at? And he's like, no answer. He's like, it is very busy there. And then he's like, it's very busy. And then, fuck. Like, well, is it bad news? He's like, no, it should be okay. And I didn't fucking know. And so it took like, instead of 2 days, it took like 8. Really, I think 8, because it was on the day. And he said, you're fine. You're going to live another day. And basically, I thought I was going to have fucking melanoma in my toe, and I was fucking twisted. And he texted me, and he's like, everything's all good, 100%. I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, probably trauma from moving and a bruise you didn't know you got. Like, because I don't know. I do have bruises all over me, and I'm like, but I don't remember doing that, because you hit your toe, it's fucked up. But I guess I fucked it up. I don't know. I'm a little paranoid still. And sometimes you'll have a bruise. You don't know if it's a bruise, but you have to let the nail, if you let the nail grow and it moves up, that means it's growing, and you can just cut that shit out. So why am I doing this video? I'm fucking feeling beautiful. Was I ever in danger? Probably not. With my history, was I a little scared? Very much so. And I was questioning everything, like my mortality. And I was literally thinking, like, is this because I've been reading the shit buried underneath your toe? He tells me stories of people that will have a fucking mole. When he checks people, you got to check in their asshole. Okay, you got to check any mole you fucking have if you're a white boy. Well, also people of color too. But I just feel like fucking fair, pink skin like me. I have a little olive now, but you got to check. And, people get shit in their belly button, he's told me they never known. Under your ball bag. Inside the lips of their vagina, like places you don't know. So inspect your shit. Because I know a dude, when I was a young kid, when track coach, lived across the street from me, and he was, I'll never forget him, man, Charlie. Charlie was a beautiful soul. He was a track coach. And every day he would walk by my house, and I was like 12 or 11, and Charlie was 27. Every day he goes, and he would take the subway and then walk past my house and go to his house. And he said, my dad said, his days are numbered. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, he got the melanoma. And I'm like, what do you mean? And like, he tells me, he's like, melanoma. They didn't catch it in time. And once it gets in your system, it's done. And so he was living his life. And my dad's like, that's dead man walking. Fuck, man. Every day he looked sicker and sicker. He's 27. By the time, like, last time I saw him, he looked like he was 63. And he just turned green. Like, it was fucking intense. And I don't know enough of the story. I just know that he died very young. He was our track coach, and he fucking coached up until the end, and we didn't really know. And he fucking, like that. And I just never forget that. I was like 12, 11 or 12 years old. I was haunted by it. And my dad smoking a cigarette going, you got the melanoma, smoking fucking cigarette. And I just thought, my dad he's like, once it gets in your blood, you gonna talk to Jesus. And I was, fuck, freaks me out. I'm trying to be funny, but I'm not. It's a fucked up shit, right? And I'm thinking like, fuck. I'm tripped out for the last 2 fucking weeks. But did I have a reason to be? No. But with my history, maybe. Was there another 5 this year? No. It'd be like 2015. I didn't really have anything 2015. And so I'm hoping not to have anything in 2025. So I'm fucking on. Like, I'm fucking scrubbing my fucking scalp, brushing my teeth, hitting the weights, eating good. And that's all we got to do. That's all you got to do is you got to take care of yourself, keeping my mind right, get all the negativity, negative people out of your life, people that aren't on your team, get them the fuck away from you. I don't know, man. I'm questioning so much shit, and I'm just like, fuck, this was like a little fucking wake-up call for me of like, now, was I in serious danger? Probably not. God bless, God bless it, Am I very fortunate to do what I do? Yes. Am I very fortunate? I got a, he said clean bill of health. I should look at the report. Fuck, man, between COVID and stock market taking shit and fucking malls. Do what you want to do. Your time is your value. Your time is very important. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. And I will talk to you soon. Like, subscribe, I don't want to say something gross. Check your anal skin. That sounds weird. Bye.